trying to not let all the note takers in because then half the call will be note takers. um, awesome. So for those of you that are new, what this call is all about: open-ended support call. Sometimes it's call reviews, profile reviews, intro videos, all that fun stuff. Most of the time, it's just an open-ended Q&A where you guys can just kind of raise your hand, ask whatever questions you have about sales, hiring process, whatever, and pretty much just give you guys the hour to support in any way that I can. And whether it's we go custom with your career or you're just looking for general feedback, just kind of here to help in whatever way I can. So that being said, we can jump right into it. If anyone's got a question, you can either just jump in or just raise your hand via the emoji thing that you got here on Zoom, and then I'll call on you one at a time. So yeah, what's up? How can I help you guys?
Pretty much, what does RepSelect actually do?
Yeah, so if you're just looking at RepSelect, it's a job platform specifically for remote sales reps. Created the platform to be the vetting layer to save reps a bunch of time. I'm sure those of you that have been looking for jobs, you see there's a lot of spam, a lot of fake, a lot of bait and switches, just a lot of mess out there, especially where people are generally told to look, which is Facebook groups. So we built RepSelect to kind of just consolidate all of the offers out there, looking for the ones that are as legitimate as possible. We got business owners that also jump on there, scroll through the directory of reps. Like when you set up your profile, you actually get listed and put in front of business owners. So you'll get a lot of like inbound invites if you've got a good Loom video and stuff like that attached to your profile. As well as through my years in the industry, I've worked with a ton of sales recruiters that are recruiting for some massive companies. And I pretty much just went ahead and consolidated all those companies and listed them for you guys to go ahead and apply to as well. So you can get on the list of those recruiting companies and get placed directly on offers, again, depending on how good your Loom video and how your background and all that stuff. So I guess it's just kind of a one-stop shop to land a role as quickly as possible and kind of save that time of having to, you still always want to vet companies, but having to overly vet and try not to get scammed by people that are trying to like say, hey, buy this training first and then we'll place you on some crappy offer, pretty much.
Yeah.
How does the hiring process actually work?
Yeah, it varies by company. There's no like union for remote sales, right? So it just comes down to how that business owner wants to run things. But typically, from what I've seen, you've got two types. Either you got companies that are doing a group style to mock / like one-on-one. So they'll bring in like 10 people, 5 people, ask a bunch of questions, let everyone answer one at a time, whittle it down from there, pick, 2 or 3 that they like, and then bring them either to a one-on-one or usually it's to a mock call where you're just going to do a mock call with that either business owner, sales manager, and they'll see where you're at skill set wise. And if they like you, they might bring you to a third round for questions, or they'll just offer you the position from there. Outside of that, you'll have companies that'll do like a 15-minute screener, and then just kind of standard with most jobs, they'll just have those one-on-one interviews. But most companies, because there's just so many reps, will do a group style interview. Some of the bigger companies will, at least. They'll do a group on the front end.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds good. Thanks for the answer.
No problem.
Hey, good afternoon, Ty. Hi, how are you?
I'm good. How you doing, man?
Yeah, I'm good. It's been a while. I've not been here.
Good to see you back.
Yeah, just been busy. Got 3 clients now working with, and a lot going on. So, yeah,
Busy
good to be
is
back.
good.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, what's up? You got a question?
Yeah, I've noticed for one of my clients, they are a speaker. They are based in Florida. Very, very big speaker. And my role has been so far calling persons to try to get them booked onto the calendar for one of the closers. And most of the calls are going straight to voicemail. So I'm just wondering if maybe the industry is changing a bit, where it's like that now, because it's been about a week and a half now, no one has closed any sales. I'm just, wondering if things are changing with the whole voicemail thing and with with even the IVR saying, "Hey, tell us your name, and we'll see if the person's available." That's been happening a lot recently.
You're saying
Yeah,
for one of the offers you're on that you're trying to dial numbers and most of them are going to voicemail, or you're getting like
correct.
those automated kind of like filters.
Yeah, both.
Well,
Yeah.
with the automated filters, you can kind of have some fun with it. I mean, if you're just saying it's Adrian from XYZ company, they're probably just not going to answer. But I've seen people, they just kind of say some wacky stuff. Obviously, keep it appropriate, but
Uh-huh.
you can have some fun with it. You know, I've heard people be like, "I'm calling about an extended car warranty," you know, and then people will just pick up because they're like, "What?" You know what I mean? Just try to throw in like some kind of pattern interrupt while still keeping it professional. If you're trying to be too professional and corporate and be like, "It's Adrian from XYZ company," like most people just aren't gonna answer. But that's what I would say about those like automated voice filter things. When it comes to calls going to voicemail, double dialing usually helps with that. When I was setting, double dialing was like a lot of people would pick up on that second call, and or you really got to know for your specific offer for your client demographic when is the best times. Like actually track that, right? Because there's some offers where you're speaking to prospects that are entrepreneurs that are available usually middle of the day. Other offers, people that you're trying to sell to are working typical 9 to 5 hours where they pick up more either early morning or afternoon, evening, or around lunchtime. It really just depends on where they are in the world and what type of person you're speaking to. Start to know what your dial times are, because I've seen reps, you know, when I was sales manager for certain teams, the setters would make like all of their sets within a 2 hour period in the evening because that's just when everyone was picking up, and they were dialing throughout the day where it was like they were talking to some people, but again, there was a lot of voicemails, a lot of those things. So know your times is usually going to help with that. And then there's obviously the technical side, which you don't have a lot of control over, which is that business owner making sure that they have a lot of their like back end dialer compliance stuff set up, because if that stuff's not set up, then some calls might show up as spam to the prospects or show up as like just weird stuff instead of have like, do they have a proper caller ID thing set up and all the compliance stuff on the back end? Because if it shows up as spam, a lot of people won't pick up. But again, that's not really something you would have tons of control over, but it might be worth asking if there's any kind of things being held back there for the dialer and making sure the system's clean.
Mm. Okay, cool. I've also noticed that the person who is closing, I haven't seen much sales from them either. Because the thing is, the offer is to sell a live ticket for
Mm-hmm.
$700 to an event which is coming up end of this month. And so it's very, very hard because people have to think about booking an airfare, hotel, you know,
Yeah.
accommodation, like different things I have to think about. So that might be a part of the reason why. And I wanted to ask you, how do I know before going into a role if it's a role that can get me to like 3, 4, 5, 6K per month?
Yeah, I actually recorded a YouTube video on right before I jumped on this call, so that'll be coming out soon. But it just comes down to vetting the offer. And when I
Yeah.
say vet the offer, you want to ask questions that allow you to reverse engineer the truth, because business owners will give OTEs and these things for various different reasons. Some of them are just based on the math of, hey, if I double ad spend, double calls, everything else is just going to cleanly double, which it doesn't always work that way. Or they might say, hey, I'm the business owner taking calls myself, and if I'm doing it part time, if this person does it full time, I'm only doing it 30% of the time. If they do it 100% of the time, then that means they'll do 3x. It's like, again, the math isn't just perfectly clean like that, but some people will base OTs and those kinds of things based off of that. So what I always like to do is ask, what's the close rate? What's the show rate? What's the deal size? What's the call volume? Get all the numbers and just do the math yourself, and you'll get a really good idea for what things look like. Because at the end of the day, there's a few things to consider. There's the OTE, but then there's the work that goes into producing the OTE. For example, I've worked with closers that are doing 30, 40 grand a month, but they're taking 12, 13 calls a day and working 14-hour days to do it. I've worked with closers that are doing the same amount but taking half that, right? So OTE is not the only thing you want to look at. You only still want to say, okay, is the work, same thing with appointment setting, setters making 10K, 20K, setters making 5, 6K, but dialing 300 numbers in a day. It's like, is the work being put in to produce the results also something that I would be okay with doing, right? So just getting all the data and then doing the math yourself to see where the alignment is. And it's also a really good tell is if you're asking these data-based questions and they're giving you vague answers they don't know, because that means their systems probably aren't dialed. Because any good sales manager or business owner should by heart, like off the top of their head, be able to spit like some pretty accurate numbers on things like close rate, show rate. Because like as a sales manager, you're looking at that stuff every day, and because the founder's asking you about that stuff every day, so you're on top of it. So you should know, they should know at least to some good degree what those numbers are, and if they don't, then that's a good tell on their systems. So I would ask those numbers. I would reverse engineer it. A big one that a lot of closers miss is average upfront cash collected, because that's a big one that closers miss, and it's a huge tell, because what they'll do is they'll say, okay, we got a 10K deal size and a 50% close rate. Therefore, if they give me 10 calls every week and I close half of them, that's $1,000 commission, 10%, 5K, cool. But it's not always that simple, because you get paid on cash collected as the cash comes in, and how much of the close rate is upfront cash collected or revenue generated, in terms of, yeah, you'll still get that $1,000 commission, but are half of the deals being closed split pays, where month one you might get 500 and month two you get the other 500, or are they 4 pays where you get that $1,000 spread out amongst 4 months? You still will make that commission, but that means there's usually going to be a ramp up period where it takes 3 to 4 months to get to that OTE, because month one you're closing the amount that you assumed you would close, but maybe 30%, maybe 10%, maybe 5% or 50% of the deals you're closing are split pays that are going to take 3 to 4 months for the commission to actually come in. Therefore, you might, if the OT is 10K, you might make 6 month one, 7 month two, as the payment plans start to come in. Then month 3, month 4, you get to that 10, right? So you gotta just ask all the questions about the numbers, reverse engineer, and if you don't know how, you can bring it, post it in the community. I can look at it, or bring it to one of these calls and we can look at it together. But yeah, close rate, show rate, deal size, average cash collected up front. You don't have to get super technical, but you could even look at like payment plan completion rate, because there's also people, like, there's drop off sometimes. Some people just don't finish those payment plans, right? That's a whole nother thing, but for a good company that won't be a huge thing.
Right.
So that's what I would do before accepting the offer, is get the math up front, and it'll actually give you a really good look on what the on-track earnings would be.
Mhm.
And then
Cool.
as a setter, there is some difficulty where it's just like, hey, I'm setting calls, I think they're good calls, closers just aren't closing, and you might feel a little bit stuck. That's where you can kind of negotiate with the business owner, where you just get paid for quality shows, get paid for sets instead of closes. You can negotiate that pretty easily, to where it's like, because again, it's not really on you 100% if deals aren't closing and the closers just aren't doing their thing, right? And if you're a good setter and they want to keep you, a lot of business owners will be willing, especially if they're like, hey, I believe in it, the deals are coming, I believe in it. Well, they can put their money where their mouth is, right? And if they believe the deals are coming and stuff, at the end of the day, if you're
Right.
doing your job, you should be compensated for that. So you can also negotiate like $50, $70, whatever per appointment that shows, and then you go and you book your 3, 4, 5 appointments a day, and you're making good money, and that'll put a fire under their butt to get the closers producing, or get another closer in there that will produce.
Right. Noted. So with the current 3 clients that I have, I wouldn't want to drop any of them. Current earnings is about it's actually pretty bad. Almost 3K per month I'm bringing in right now across all 3 clients. So to get to
So
6K, I'm thinking
why do you have 3 then?
so one of the companies, it's a cleaning company. I'm doing operations. Another company is for this speaker, and the third client I'm doing SDR for them. So pretty much like
Yeah.
calling merchants they already have on, but it's not really much. I'm being paid per month.
Yeah. So what
And
I
it's
want to look
what
at,
yeah.
when I want to look at when I'm looking at kind of like splitting up different offers and doing kind of like a gig thing, is ROI based on time, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because like you could have two offers and like make 3K here, 3K there, or 2K there, 2K there, 5K there, 5K there. But then like, could you just spend more time on one and make 10 off of one? Like, you know what I mean? It's, you want to see like me spending X amount of time with this offer. If I put that same amount of time into the other offer, would I double, or sometimes it compounds and you more than double what you could be making on the other offer. So like, for example, your SDR one, are you only spending the amount of time you're spending because you're actually maximizing all the possible leads they have? Or is it more of a role where they kind of have inbound leads and cold lead lists where you can just kind of dial forever? Because if you're just doing cold calling, you could just dial as many as you want. Then would it just make sense to just spend all the time there and let that compound effect start to come in? Right? I mean, obviously the operations one, that's not really a sales role, so you're kind of just getting paid whatever you're based on what you're doing there. But holding, especially as an appointment setter, sometimes like it's really difficult to justify as an appointment setter having two offers when the appointment setting role in itself it's a pretty hustle role where it's like you just dial more, set more, make more for the most part. So
Right.
you kind of want to take a look at, okay, if I'm spending so much time here, or if I'm trying to split it evenly, but the ROI isn't even, would it just make sense to drop one and spend more time on the one that's actually producing most, you know?
Yeah, got you, got you. Right now I'm working with someone actually. So the plan was to like, like partner with them to like support the other clients, and then I would take a step back since I'm more like, experienced in sales and go after a sales role specifically as we've been talking about it for quite some time now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right, cool. I still have the homework due. I promise you, Ty, I'm not going around it. So I'll try to come next week with that homework for sure. But right now
Sounds
I'm just
good.
trying to get things streamlined. Yep. Thanks.
Awesome.
All
Sarah,
right.
how you doing? What's up? How can I help you?
Hey, yeah, how you doing? Can you hear me okay?
Yes, I can.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you so much for running this. This is like so helpful. I'm quite new to the space, so it's a bit like, oh, what's going on? I've made it to the third round of interviews with an offer that I'm really excited about. It's They help gym owners get out of the owner operator seat and then scale out. So they've got like time freedom and their revenues like coming in and their systems are dialed.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I haven't been in an interview like this for maybe like 15 years because I've had my own businesses and I've been like on the other side of the table. So I was just wondering if you had any advice on, like, I'm pretty sure this is the last round of interviews. They're only interviewing 3 people. So any advice on kind of what to expect? Obviously, like I've been in Claude and ChatGPT, but just from your experience, I'd really love to know.
Yeah, what were the first 2 rounds like?
So the first round was like a big group interview, and they just asked you real basic, like, how would you overcome this objection kind of thing. It was like pretty
Yeah.
basic. And then obviously there was a Loom video before that. And then then they did another Loom video, but it was 10 minutes and you had to answer like all of these questions.
Mm-hmm. And then the second round, you said?
So the first one was just the Loom video where they invited you to the group one,
Mm-hmm.
and then from the group one they then got you to do this 10-minute Loom video, and now this is the
Oh,
last
okay.
one.
Oh,
Yeah,
so then they invited you to another call after you did like the long Loom video.
yeah.
Okay. I would assume, if I were just guessing, they might just be looking at culture fit at that point.
Okay.
It could either, I mean, if they didn't tell you it's a mock call,
Yeah, they didn't tell me it was a mock call,
yeah.
so
So, I mean, some businesses, it's rare, but some businesses will surprise you with it.
yeah.
But
I hope they don't, but
yeah, it's not common. It's not common, but I have seen it where they just like they want to spring it on you and see how you do, which I think is really dumb, but some people do
yeah.
it. But yeah, if it's not like a surprise mock call or something like that, typically they're just going to ask you questions to see culture fit, mentality, personality, that kind of stuff. Might ask like, who do you learn from? Those kinds of things to see if you just like gel with the team. The most common thing I've heard from business owners and sales managers is just like, do I see this person getting along with the other team members? Like, could we hang out outside of work and everything not be awkward and weird? And so they're probably just going to judge just your overall confidence, and they probably judge that in the first ones as well, but they're just going to judge like, do you vibe well with them? Because they've already asked, it sounds like, some of like the technical sales skill, kind of like how do you handle this objection, all that stuff. And unless the only two other things I've seen is they're going to try to put it to the test either live, where like, hey, let's do a role play, or they're trying to just judge your mental state in regards to the team and how connected you are to that. Make sense?
Okay. Easy. Perfect. I can work with that. That's super helpful. Thank you.
No problem. I am not too sure how to pronounce your name. You do have your hand up second. How do I pronounce your name? I know the last name is Gumidi or something. I'm not too sure how to pronounce your name. I apologize. If you're still there. I'm not sure if she's there. Sorry, she turned off her camera. We will come back around then. Oh, there she is.
I'm so sorry. I had a problem with my camera.
Welcome back.
No, it's fine. Even people who use the same language that I natively am can't pronounce my name. My thing is I'm still in the I'd say in the beginning phase of trying to secure an appointment setting job or a closing job. But the problem that I'm facing is that I am getting interviews, right? And I think also from what you were saying to the lady, so I forgot her name, about culture fitting basically with the culture of the company So, but my problem is I'm not getting responses back, as in whether the interview went well or not. And also what I want to just know is how to stand out, because I've been to like group interviews. So how to stand out in a group setting. And also, secondly, how to just secure that job in that interview and be different from the crowd, basically. Even if it's not even a group setting where it's just you who's being interviewed, how you can just stand out.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, when it comes to standing out in the group interview, it's actually funny, I also recorded one on that, so that'll come out on Friday. But first thing you want to know is the usual structure with the group interview is they have this list of questions, and then they're like, whoever wants to answer, go ahead. And there's these few seconds of awkward silence while someone musters up the courage to go first, right? You want to, on all of these group interviews, for all of the questions where possible, don't try to like force your way in, but go first if you can when you're answering all these questions. The way the human mind just works, like we remember something at the beginning and we remember the end, and the middle is all kind of like fluffy in our memory. So one easy way to stand out is just answer first wherever possible. Business owners are looking for confidence, and that showcases confidence. When it comes to how you answer, concise, confident, without displaying any type of arrogance. So, for example, when you're answering the question, you don't want to ramble and stumble over your words. Speak very plainly and directly. And if you need to slow down your speech in order to do so, that's totally okay. Concise, meaning keep your answers to about 2 minutes, or like 1 to 2 minutes, not one-liners, not over rambling, over justifying. Just 2 minutes is usually the sweet spot. In terms of confidence over arrogance, it just comes across in the way you talk about yourself and your achievements. So you want to make sure that when you're speaking about things that you contributed to a company, things that you've learned, things that you've done, wherever possible, acknowledge the support you had along the way. Acknowledge the team's contribution to the achievements that you've had. Acknowledge your previous sales managers, leaders. People just like appreciative people. You know what I mean? Try to use language like we instead of I. When it comes to any claims you have about yourself, always have evidence to back your claims so that it's grounded in truth rather than just your own self idea of your own natural ability, right? And have stories that showcase every single trait that you want to show in that interview. So people love to say that they're hardworking and they're this and they're that, but you have to be able to prove it with some kind of story, right? So if you're an appointment setter and you're trying to showcase that you're hardworking, then that should come across in, let's say you had a previous offer. What was your dial rate? It's an easy way to show that you're a hard worker, right? So talk about that. If you want to show that you're coachable, talk about how you achieved something or did something, but then again, acknowledge someone, a person, a video, a book, or whatever resource gave you the knowledge or help that allowed you to now implement. Like give a story at how, Sarah showed me this, and from there I implemented it, and these were the results I got from that, right? So showcase that you're able to take information from other people, implement it, and get results instead of just being like, oh, I did this and achieved this and achieved this. You know what I mean? And then asking good questions at the end is a massive way to stand out and be memorable, right? Most people at the end, they've got like no questions, or their questions are very self-centered in terms of, again, those vetting questions that are good to ask. I wouldn't ask them in a group interview. I would wait till I either got the offer or wait till the one-on-one, right? But people asking in the group interview, like, what's the lead flow? What's the OTE? Those kinds of things. Not that they're bad questions, but they're not questions that are going to make you stand out and make business owners be like, oh, that's the person I want. They're in alignment with me. The questions you do want to ask in a group interview is think, what questions showcase that I have the same intentions, our goals are aligned, me and the business owner, me and the interviewer, whoever's interviewing, your sales manager, recruiter, wherever. And that being said, some of my two favorite questions is a ramp-up question and kind of like a team struggle / support type question. Ramp-up question meaning a business owner's goal, like you're a sales rep and they want you to come into the team and ramp up into KPI meaning key performance indicator. They want you to get to a certain level of production as quickly as possible so that you're not losing the company money, you're an asset to the company. And if you can showcase that that is also your intention, they're going to like that, right? So an easy question to showcase that would be at the end of a group interview. And I've literally asked this question to land offers is I would say, hey, so what are some of the main things I should focus on in the first 30 days so that I could ramp up into KPI as quickly as possible, right? And they're like, oh, that their intention is to ramp up. My intention is for you to ramp up. That's great. We're in alignment. And they're going to answer that question. And you're going to say, okay, cool. Another good question would be, and this one's really great with sales managers or even business owners, whoever's actively managing the sales team, if that's who you're talking to, you can ask the question to say, hey, what are some of the main things that you're working on with the sales team that they're struggling with right now that I can either help with or avoid? And then sometimes especially if you're speaking to a sales manager, they're gonna be like, oh man, I mean, I've just been trying to get these guys to follow up with their leads and manage their pipeline properly, right? And you can express like, okay, awesome. No, I have a lot of different ideas and tips on how to manage the pipeline actually. And you can highlight in my last offer, pipeline management was something I took very seriously and huge. I closed a ton of deals from follow-up. So yeah, happy to help wherever I can there. Right. And they're going to be like, oh, awesome. Like it's going to, you know what I mean? Or they might say, oh, our team is really struggling with spouse objection or this or pricing objections or whatever. And then again, you're just showcasing that you're there. Your mindset is in alignment with what they want to see in a rep. And that alone, because these questions usually happen at the end of the group interview. So that alone is going to be a massive way to help you stand out. Like if you're in there, you're going first, you're concise, you're confident, you're acknowledging people, you're being very appreciative in terms of you're not coming across arrogant, and at the end you're just asking great questions like that, you're going to pass
Yeah.
most group interviews, if not all of them that you jump into. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does make sense. It does make a lot of sense. It does make a lot of sense.
Awesome. Hopefully that helps.
Yeah, thank you so much.
No problem. I know, Vitalik, I know you. Vitalik, I know you want to look at your Loom video. Let's answer Puya's question, and then we'll take a look at your Loom video, and then we'll get back to Sarah's question. Puya, what's up, man?
Hi, everyone. Yeah, actually, Metallica inspired me to share my Loom video too. So I think that's a good one to do.
Sweet.
But I also have a question, so I don't know if you want to do which one.
Yeah, I'll answer your question, then we'll look at Vitalica's Loom, and then we'll look at
Okay.
your Loom.
I just also say to the last person, sorry, I don't know how to say your name, but it's also a very visual thing, I find, right, Ty? Like they just want to, like, you have to look like a high ticket closer, right?
Absolutely.
So even if you get like one of these, like a $20 one, doesn't have to be fancy one, as long as you look like one.
Yeah, they love the podcast mic for some reason.
Yeah, it's like they have these giant things, like you can't even see their faces.
But no, the looking the part is huge, and that's why you hear me talk about it a lot for the intro video, is because if you think about it, they're, especially for B2B guys, they're going to put you in front of a business owner that's, you know, generating millions of dollars a month or hundreds of $1,000s a month, and they're like, I need help with making more money in my business or scaling in some way or team management or something. And then they get on a call with a sales rep who's just like holding up their phone in like some weird looking location. They're not going to see you, because they're supposed to see you as a professional advisor. And in a way, they want to see that like you have more business acumen than they do, because you're going to be the one leading them into like where they're trying to go. So, and again, it's not a guarantee, but as human beings, we're just visual creatures. And if someone in a ripped up wife beater was trying to give you business advice, you would probably take it with a grain of salt versus someone in a suit, right? Not saying you have to show up in a suit, but I mean, even Puya's setup, it looks great, right? Like nice office type looking background, you know, collared shirt, nothing crazy, nice sweater, whatever. Show up like that in your interviews, you know, it'll make a world of a difference. You know, even we got Adolfo here, nice setup, looks professional. You can get on B2B calls like that and look fine. And again, you don't have to have a professional setup. It can be a blank background. It can be just a normal looking place. It just can't, like, the better, the better. You know what I mean? You just don't want it looking stingy or dingy or anything like that. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so my
go ahead,
question was about the pros and cons of customer success manager. I know you've been to that role, so I'm considering that role. Along with there's a company they have both, so I'm considering that one. Curious to know.
Yeah, depends on what you like spending your day doing. So for those of you who don't know, CSM, Customer Success Manager, you're essentially the coach for the company, right? So you got a company, usually a coaching consulting company. Advertising agencies have it too, which kind of drastically changes the type of role. But if we're talking about specifically a coaching company, usually you've got the influencer person who's the face of the company doing all the coaching until they get to the point where it's just not scalable for them to keep coaching, or their clients want one-on-one, so they start hiring CSMs to do the coaching. With that role, whatever is being sold, you have to also be an expert on that thing. So, you know, you can't just say, hey, I want to get into being a CSM and go work at any company. You have to know about the thing that's being coached so that you can coach those people on how to see that growth and trajectory. So when I was a CSM for a sales training company. So, you know, I was training sales reps, right? If you're a CSM for a real estate company, you've got to train people you're training real estate agents in some way, or you're training people that are trying to get into real estate. If you're a CSM, you've got to be an expert on the thing that's being sold, right? So it's a lot different from the sales role in terms of you should know how to sell, because a lot of these roles you can make good money on upsells and higher tier programs, but you also have to know how to coach and lead people in the thing that they're being onboarded to learn. Pros and cons for that role, it just depends on. I would say, I wouldn't even say pros and cons. I would just say it's just a different role, because you're now spending your time coaching and consulting. And when you're coaching and consulting people, depending on how they have it set up, I mean, you've got to have good boundaries. I mean, people are just going to be messaging you all types of the day, whenever, wherever. I've had clients get mad because I didn't respond on the weekend. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So if you are the type of person who just enjoys doing back-to-back coaching calls all day, every day, then sure, you would enjoy that role. But it's made up mostly of onboarding calls, coaching calls, and then there's a good amount of admin and tracking that goes into it as well, because you have to take notes on all of these calls, and I guess it just depends on the company and how much people they have you coaching. But for me, I had around 100 people that I was actively coaching at any given time, and I was doing about 8 to 10 one-on-ones every single day. And I would get on with someone and like I would have no idea where they're at in the process. So I'd have to pull up my notes and be like, all right, what have we already gone through? Where are you at? And then we can continue the call from there. So again, getting really good at taking notes, where things like Fathom can come into play and really, really help. You can kind of set up your own automation to where it goes into like your note tracker. You have to be very organized. You have to love coaching people if you want to do it. You know, you have to love being a problem solver. Because people are going to come with a bunch of different angles, a bunch of different problems, and they're looking for you to help them find a custom solution for that problem. So there's a lot of custom kind of work that goes in, but then there's a lot of repetition as well, because as you get better, you're going to kind of settle into a groove where you're kind of taking people through a specific process. And some days you're just going to feel like a broken record robot, because like there's days that are kind of more fun where you've got this person's on call 1 with you, this person's on call 4, this person's on call 10, this person's on call 6. But then there's days where you've got like 5 back-to-back calls that are all like call 1. And call 1, you got to go over the same things. So you're just like repeating the same spiel 6 times, you know? And it's like, all right, here we go again, you know? So again, there's pros and cons. I mean, some of the pros is obviously you don't have the same type of pressure to sell that you would as a closer. There's a little bit more consistency in your income. If you just love coaching and love seeing the transformation, like that's really fulfilling when someone comes back to you and they're like, I implemented your advice and like, I got this happen and I got these results and all that. But then you're also, you know, dealing with people that, you know, they just show up and they just haven't done the work that you talked about last week. Like, what do you do then? So there's a lot of like, you know, and there's people that, you know, they might be going through some mental struggles for doing the work. So you've got to really have a love for people. But that just depends on what you're coaching on too. You know what I mean? And who you're coaching, right? For example, for me, I was coaching a lot of people that there was some people that were like career professional sales reps that are trying to just improve. And there's some people that are trying to get into it for the first time. And there's some people that are trying to get into it because they were previous entrepreneurs. And there's people that are trying to get into it because they just hate their job so much. And you got to kind of work around their schedule, when you can meet with them and all that. So yeah, I mean, I could ramble on for days about the position. There was lots of things I loved about the position, which is seeing the transformation. You get compensated very, very well. At least the company I was at, you know,
what were you earning? Like, would you be willing to
I was
share?
earning around $20K a month, depending on how many back ends I was selling.
Whoa.
Well, it was like
pretty good.
it was a sales training thing. So like the ROI for the coaching is big, and you have to like how good you have to be at sales training, you would have to compensate the CSM well, because if you're a good sales trainer, you can go and make $20K a month doing lots of different things, you know? So it's like, it's not like, I wouldn't say the typical CSM role would earn that. So for example, you'll probably earn more CSM as a sales trainer, or like for a marketing company where you're helping people improve their marketing systems, because how good of a marketer you have to be to train people on marketing, 10, 20K a month is like, you can go do that in so many different avenues. So in order to keep the talent you would need to keep, then you know what I mean? You would have to pay them a certain amount. Like you couldn't pay that guy $5K a month, 6, $7K a month, because he's going to look at that and be like, well, I'm training these people on how to be a marketer and how to get good at marketing. I can go get paid so much more just doing the thing. You know what I mean? So again, same thing. If I'm coaching people on sales, I mean, I could just go be a closer and earn 20K a month. Why would I, you know, like if they were paying me 5 or 6K a month as a CSM, why would I ever do that? You know what I mean? So not all CSMs pay that amount. It really just depends on the type of CSM you are. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. I forgot my other question. But yeah, I guess we'll just go to the Loom video if you like.
Cool. Yeah, we'll watch the 2 Loom videos. We'll hit up Sarah's question.
Yeah, thank you.
And we'll go from there. Let's look at Vitalica's first. Let me get it here.
Hi.
Was something you want to say something first?
Yeah, I just wanted to say hi. Yeah, thank you for hosting this community calls. It's been a great progress so far. This intro video is longer than it should. I know it. So I wanted to get some help trimming the fluff. I know that the setting could be adjusted. I just wanted to, provide something to move forward. So
sounds good.
Thank
awesome.
you.
Let's we'll just focus on what's being said.
Okay.
This is a short video to introduce myself, as I believe I can be a valuable asset for your sales team. My name is Vitalica. My main experience lays across different industries, which is coaching, entrepreneurship, and holistic sports. So for the past 4 years, I've been coaching my female group into the circles of transformation. I would guide women through their obstacles towards aspirations and transforming their lives into what they desire. On a business side, it's 7 years of e-commerce, where I generated 1.5 mil in revenue for the past company I was working for, and 5.2 mil in general revenue for all the years. My direct responsibilities would be P&L, budgeting, and strategy. I was managing our marketing team, call center, and logistics. So coming from business environment, I'm confident in my sales skills as I personally closed many negotiations with our suppliers and further customers. And also I have experience in professional sports. I'm an ex-tennis player, ranked number 4 in Ukraine and USTA 5.5. It allowed me to temper my character into winning under pressure, understanding dedication and hard work. So if it sounds like a good fit, let's hop on a call and see if it clicks. Thank you.
Awesome. So 2 things I would say. When you talk about coaching the women's groups that you coached, you could tighten that up a ton by just being very specific on, I'm not sure if you have how many women you coached, what kind of transformation they would see. Like we could save a ton of seconds just buttoning that part up. It seems like we kind of went over a little bit vague on there. Is there, like, how many women did you coach through that?
So it was circles of 6 to 12 women at a time.
Mm-hmm.
And I hosted six circles. So 6 by 10, like 60 women altogether.
Mm-hmm. And what kind of transformation on average were they kind of looking to achieve?
So different groups were dedicated to different purposes. One was for burnout entrepreneurial women to regain their purpose and that stuff. Another one is spirituality. So it's like different purposes.
Yeah, so you could button it up and say something like, yeah, some of my main experience in this industry has been coaching a group of women, coached about 60 women through different life coaching avenues, mainly around entrepreneurial burnout, spirituality, and different topics like that to help them see transformation. I also have, you know what I mean? Like that could have just been that section and then move on. So buttoning it up in terms of how you present it. And then overall, there's nothing wrong with anything else you said after that. I mainly want to look at how you said it. I just want to see more oomph to it in terms of confidence and less ums, ahs, breaks. Because again, a business owner is going to look at this and they're going to say, okay, the way Vitalika is presenting herself here is exactly how she's going to present my product or service. And I want to see some excitement and some conviction there. Like, hey, this is what I did, and you've got to present it like I was awesome at it, right? Like I really produced well. Like, hey, my 7 years across e-commerce brands, I generated over $1.5 million for XYZ company in the first year or whatever. And across the cut off like 30 seconds on this thing, right? Again, not that you have to like massively up your speech and tempo, but cutting out some of those ums and ahs, a little bit more confidence in what you're saying. And again, not that you have to revamp everything. That's naturally going to happen just by doing a ton of takes and then finding the perfect one. You know what I mean? If you recorded this with that mindset like 50 times, I guarantee you'll find one that's awesome, and then that's all you need, you know?
So the text within is good. What I'm saying is all right. Yeah.
Yeah. I would not worry about what is being said outside of how you presented the female group. You could be a lot more concise there, but everything about the entrepreneurship, 7 years e-commerce, 1.5 million, 5.2 in total, holistic, or when you're talking about sports, ex-tennis player, winning under pressure, it was all great. It's just, we got to button it up. I saw in the chat here, Puya said AI is good. I would try not to have any cuts or editing in these intro videos. One take is always going to be the best because they want to see how you naturally would present something. And anyone can sound good if I'm chopping it up and doing, like, you know what I mean? And they're just going to be like, that's not real. So I wouldn't have any cuts in the video other than like at the beginning and the end, just to keep it tight. But throughout the middle, try not to just do a ton of cuts or any cuts at all.
Thank you. So quick follow-up question. So I did maybe like 3 takes on this, and first take, I'm naturally excited person and curious, excited for the past, future, present. So it was a little too exciting, I think. So there is maybe a fine line between not sounding monotonous, like corporate, and not sounding like overly excited,
well, you just
right?
just sound real. Just like, if you're excited, be excited. Just be real. Don't if you're forcing the excitement to the point where it's fake, but you can still just talk about how awesome what you did was from a genuine level of excitement, right? And again, you only recorded 3. I've had people, when I used to coach tons, they've recorded like 50 to 100 of them, and then we picked one that was great, and then they went and got a ton of interviews with it. So don't think that, okay, I've got to like nail the next one. It's just like mock calls and role plays. Like, just, if you do it a lot, if you say it a lot, you're going to memorize it and just be able to flow and just go at it. You know what I mean? So yeah, don't overthink and take like 20 minutes to record one. Just like hit record, do it again, hit record, do it again, hit record, do it again, take a break, get some water, and do it again. And then you'll be like, oh, the 30-second one was actually kind of awesome. Let's do that. You know what I mean?
Okay, repetition. I hear you.
Exactly.
Well, thank you, Tay. Thanks.
No problem. Let's look at yours, Puya. Then we'll keep.
Yeah.
it
Also,
going here.
I just, may I add to that, Ty, is I also find that there are times in the day where I'm more high energy, like when you feel really good, it comes off, right? So I think I used to make a mistake of putting it later in the afternoon. I was sort of in a lower energy, but I noticed that in the morning I'm just like much more fired up. So
yeah, I mean, I just go like, if I'm feeling down, I'll just like chug a pre-workout or some black coffee before I record YouTube videos and then just get into it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, sometimes before these calls even, I'll just be like, man, I'm tired today. you know what,
Mm-hmm.
let me just get some coffee before I jump on this call so I have some energy, you know, and then go from there.
Oh, yes.
Awesome. Let's take a look at this.
Puya, I am an ethical high-ticket closer with... Hello, friend. My name is Puya. I am an ethical high-ticket closer with 1.5 million closed in the past 3 years, with over 10 years in face-to-face sales and customer support experience. I also have an entrepreneurial background. I've had several businesses, so I understand the need for speed, teamwork, synergy, and I am open and available to taking on offers with ethical, consistent lead and quality leads company where I would love to support your mission to make an impact in the world. I do best with offers that are high rating and quality, and I'm very selective on who I work with. And once I am committed to someone, I go all in, where I constantly work on my craft on every single day. Every single team I've joined, I became the top 20%. And I love selling because I love people and I love making money and I love making a difference. So if this resonates, I love to talk to you, to connect, whether now or in the future. Maybe I can contribute to your team, but regardless, if I know someone else, I can also refer it to you. So please reach out to me, and I look forward to talking to you soon.
Solid
you.
video. Solid video. I want to look at the beginning.
Years with 1.5 million closed in the past 3 years, with over 10 years in face-to-face sales and customer support experience. I also have an entrepreneurial background. I've had several business.
Honestly, the only thing I would do is that one achievement of being like the top on the team. I would just slide that into right after you mentioned revenue. Like that's really about it. But that's just a nitpick, to be honest. If I had to say anything about it, overall, I think it's a pretty solid video. You know, you state what you're looking for. You state your achievements, revenue generated, all those things, the numbers. The video looks good, sounds good. Again, you could have more energy, but you don't want to not be you as well. So you sound genuinely you as well. You sound confident and calm, which is also totally fine. Yeah, man, overall, I think it's a good video. It's not too long. Solid.
Thank you. I passed the test. Yes.
Yes,
Awesome,
you did.
guys.
Yes,
Thank you.
No problem.
Yeah, I did like 3 or 4 on that one.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Sweet. Chris, what's up, man?
Yeah, so pretty much all I wanted to say is I think both the looms are pretty good, but I feel like Vitalica's like she's got a lot of achievements, of course, like both you do, but I think hers is very robotic. No offense,
Okay. Awesome. Yeah,
like in the
definitely
way
something
she was
to work
speaking.
on.
I think it was good though, of course, but that's all I want to say.
Yeah, if she's got some more confidence behind what she's saying, all of that, it'll just flow better. Absolutely.
Yeah, exactly.
Awesome. We've got a few minutes left. Any other questions? Anything else you want to go over before we jump off?
Oh, actually, I got one more.
Yep.
I got a question. So pretty much, like you said, you started like what was it appointment setting?
For me, I've done appointment setting and closing. I kind of was juggling multiple offers at the same time. I jumped into entrepreneurship first, and then I went into just doing sales for multiple teams and kind of grew that into a sales agency before I transitioned out of the sales agency to do more sales coaching. But yeah.
Then how did you actually start that?
Which part? The my own business?
Oh no, as in like being an appointment setter from like your standpoint.
Yeah, the way I landed my first roles was actually through referrals primarily. And I started working with the companies that because I started out as a marketing agency and we were just generating a bunch of leads for companies. And they weren't closing leads or they were struggling with this, struggling with that. And I realized that I was kind of coaching them on the sales part of it. So then I just said, hey, what if I just did like some of this stuff for you? So I started doing some setting for them, started doing some closing for them, and then kind of developed that into a sales agency where I was kind of like a one-man sales agency doing it for a bunch of different clients and started bringing in other reps to come do it alongside me.
It's fair, yeah.
Yeah, that's how I got into it. But it wasn't my first rodeo and sales as well. It made it more of an easy transition because before that, I actually did like door-to-door sales for years. So I did door-to-door, event sales. I've done like every avenue of sales there is for the most part. And I actually started leading a team on door-to-door sales, had like 10, 15 guys under me. And then I just didn't like the idea of being tied down to like a territory and stuff and wanted to do more remote kind of work, just for the freedom of it, right? And that's when I transitioned into running a marketing agency.
It's a pretty cool story, yeah. To be fair, I wasn't expecting all of that. But yeah, nice too.
Yeah, I've done a lot of stuff. Like even the reason why I started a marketing agency is because like in high school, I used to grow and sell social media accounts. Like, you know, those like meme pages and stuff. I used to
I've seen
I
them,
used to make like memes and then grow the account to like 50K or 100K followers, and I would sell them. Just people
nice.
wanted to buy like active accounts. So then starting a
How
marketing
much would
agency,
you
I was
normally
like,
get per account, would you say?
it was actually all based on activity. So there was like these tests where depending on how many likes your post got within the first minute would determine how much it was worth. So some of them were a couple $100, some of them were $1,000. I wasn't too picky on how much, because in high school, like $500, I was like, wow, that's so much money.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly,
take it. And then you find out later you could have sold it for like double that. But yeah. So that's why transitioning into marketing was pretty simple, because I was like, okay, well, I know a bunch of sales now because I've been doing door to door, I've been leading teams, I've been doing recruiting and hiring and interviewing reps and hiring them to my sales team. And when I was younger in high school, I used to like do social media in terms of growing accounts. I know how to grow accounts organically, so I might as well just start a marketing agency where that's what I do for them. And that transitioned into like running advertising, because the real money for marketing is in advertising, not in organic growth. And then it kind of just kept transitioning into other things. And here I am.
Nice. Anyway, I'll leave Puya and Jeffrey to do the rest
Yeah,
of the questions.
Joffrey, man. How can I help you? You're on mute, by the way.
Okay,
There you go.
good day, Ty. First of all, the only thing I decided to do is to really appreciate you. You are such an amazing person, so authentic, and you always giving out value. Say I usually engage with your content because every time
Yes,
you
I
speak,
see you on
I
YouTube
still
all
got
the
them.
time. You're commenting. No, I appreciate it. I
Yes,
appreciate it.
yes. So I really appreciate. I'll be applying for some roles because I love to close. But I'm setting up some things. In my background, I've not gotten what I want, but as soon as I'm ready, I will apply.
Awesome.
I'll get into some of your programs. But I really do appreciate the value you give. It teaches that you're very genuine, you're authentic, and you're very supportive. So thank you.
No problem. Thank you. I appreciate that. I try to help where I can. Puya, did you have your hand up
Yeah,
still?
I think
What's
I
up?
remember what I was trying to say is that I think the CSM role is a lot more like a job, right? It feels more like a job, whereas the other one seems like more like a challenge, right? Because you have to close, and it's like there's an excitement. It's like a sense of highs, lows, right?
Yeah. It depends how it's set up. Like the one I was doing at first, it was only coaching, but then they had a higher tier program that we could upsell our clients into.
Okay.
So I was able to make even more commission based on that. So then I started pretty much selling and coaching simultaneously. But again, that's a lot of CSM roles are like that. Not all of them are like that. So it really just depends.
Yeah, because I think sales makes it kind of fun, right? Like when you have this
Yeah.
dopamine hit of the close. But on the other
Yeah,
hand,
it's
it
a
can
lot
be a little
more. It's a
repetitive
lot more of an entrepreneurial type role
feel to it. Yeah.
than a CSM role would kind of be more of like you said, it's more of a just a coaching job that you have for that company.
Yeah. You know, the other challenge I finished quickly is like there's a lot of offers. Like I actually had 2 offers last week, but one of them I didn't feel good about the integrity because the Trustpilot looks very good, but when you dig into the deep of it, you start to find the crap. And then the Reddit, right? Like I searched Reddit feedback name, and clients refunds, and they have really crappy policies around refunds, and people have to kill themselves, and they're not. Have you had that challenge, or do you have any feedback on that too? Like, and then there's another offer, which is this guy is just all over the place. Like it's just messy. There's no systems.
Yeah. Yeah, in terms of like quality, you do have to keep in mind that when you look for the bad, that's all you're going to find. So every company at scale eventually has some, like, you're just not going to have everyone happy. So like there's especially companies that are like onboarding 200-300 people a month, like someone's not going to be happy at some point. But if it is excessive and you can see from the inside that like things clearly aren't operating well, then that's not something you want to be a part of. Like if people are closing deals based off of not telling the full truth or those kind of ethical things, throughout my career, I just straight up leave those sales jobs. Like I've just quit sales jobs because even though I was making money, I was like, I got to be able to sleep at night at the end of the day, right?
That's what I
and
mean.
I can't sell with conviction because my selling style is based on, do I feel like what I'm offering you is genuinely going to help put you in a better position? And that's the way I can handle objections and concerns and really help them walk through stuff. I mean, maybe if you have no soul, you could do it regardless, but I can't. So
Yeah.
I've left sales jobs for that, and it's part of what made me start my own company, was that I had control over both ends, the sales and the delivery. So yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, if the company is not selling something ethical, you're going to struggle to have conviction on that offer, and you're not going to perform very well. So I just wouldn't work with that company if I see it from the inside out. When you're looking at those reviews, you want to just see if they're detailed, or if they're just like, oh yeah, this company sucks, or oh, they're expensive, or you know what I mean? Because I've seen some great companies that do really, really well for their clients that have some really bad reviews. And as a CSM, I can't tell you how many times, for example, I can't tell you how many times people would pay like 10K, come to one meeting, and then just like stop showing up and just like never come back. You know what I mean? And you're like, what? Why would anyone do that? But I've seen it so many times where people would leave negative reviews or be upset about something that really just wasn't in the company's control, or they're upset because, they just didn't want to put in the work or whatever. That's not always the case, and there are a lot of really bad offers out there, even ones that are big companies. But it is something to keep in mind that at some point, at some scale, there's no company that's going to be like 100% clean. I mean, I've gotten, like, even RepSelect has gotten some 1-star reviews and stuff from people that were just like saying a bunch of stuff that just wasn't true or whatever. You know what I mean? So it happens as well.
Yeah, and then you mentioned you started your own sales company. Like, what is your vision? Are you growing it? Are you like looking
Yeah,
to become the
so
next Closers IO, or what's your goal?
yeah, so what happened was, after the marketing agency, I started doing sales for people, and then I just turned that into a sales agency, and we were doing really good. There was like our biggest client, we were generating like 400,000 or 500,000 a month for them with only like 1 or 2 reps on their team, and we were doing really, really well. And I stopped doing that because I just didn't like the idea that, for example, their ad account got banned on Facebook, and that just like shut off that whole income stream. And I was just like, I don't like that. I don't have that like control over that. Like, I don't know. Their marketer put something weird in a line of copy, and it just shut off their ads and everything. Like, their ad shut off, their calls shut off, our reps can't close. Then, you know what I mean? So I was just like, I don't like that. There's too many things in between that are determinant, right? And again, not that it's a bad model or you can't scale it. You definitely can. And then on top of that, you're a sales manager for, like, I think we had like 5 different offers at the time. So you're coaching people how to sell on 5 different offers, which again, it's not the easiest thing in the world. So then I transitioned into simply just sales recruiting, and I was just training reps in the interview process, looking for reps that were good, and then placing them on offers for, the typical recruiting fee or whatever, right? And then I wanted to learn if this was something I wanted to scale. And I was like, okay, is this something I really want to scale to the moon, put all my energy behind? So that's when I actually went and got that coaching job at Closers.io with Cole Gordon, because I was like, he's doing it at scale, so I want to see what that looks like. So I went and worked with them as a coach for like a year and a half, so I could see their marketing, see their ads, see the pros and cons, see the refunds and complaints, see the businesses they worked with. And I was like, okay, is this the type of organization I would like to try and build and run? And then that's when I kind of said, I really like the idea of software over that, like what they were doing. right? And that's why I started building. That's why I built RepSelect instead, because I wanted something for me. And like, people are motivated by different things. For me, I'm really motivated by leverage. Every single thing that I've started and worked on and built, I love the idea of leverage, and I like to just be able to work from anywhere. Like, yes, there's working from remote, and then for me, there's like working from anywhere. So one thing I like about RepSelect is, because it's software, I don't have to do the back-to-back meetings. I mean, part of working at Closers.io made me realize, like, I like doing meetings, I like helping people, I like coaching people, but when it's like 10, 12 a day, it's like, oh my gosh, you know. Now you're just working remotely, but you're still tied to your desk, you know, in your office. I like to just work from the couch sometimes. And with software, you can do that because all you're doing is just like technical software stuff. I started a marketing agency because I like MRR. I like recurring revenue rather than high ticket lump sum income. It's great, but again, it's kind of like you just got to keep selling, right? So I like the idea of building leverage, and I liked the idea of software development. I like building things that get better as you pour more into it. And again, that doesn't mean like this is the way everyone should do it. It's just personally, it's just what I liked. I said, okay, it's not just about how much money I can make. It's what would I be doing to earn that money? That's what I really looked at before I really poured into something, you know, if you know what I mean. And then I would go from there. So that's why I ended up, instead of doing like a sales agency and scaling that, I was like, I would rather scale like a software. And I'm like, what could I see myself doing when I'm 50? You know, it's like, well, if you've built a software company and scaled it to a certain point, it's kind of running itself. It's kind of, you could exit, you could sell it, or, you know what I mean? Whereas coaching, it's not really something that you can exit. You're the face. You know what I mean? As soon as you stop being the face, the company usually starts to slow down unless you go super corporate with it. Just different decisions based off of what I was specifically looking for.
Yeah. Thank you, Ty. Appreciate it.
No problem. Awesome. Well, we will wrap it up there. Hopefully this was helpful. Hope this was valuable for everyone on the call. We do this every single Monday, and we have a smaller, more intimate call, more sales training focused call on Wednesdays for those of you that have like the training subscription there. So I'll see some of you guys on Wednesday. But if not, maybe I'll see you next Monday. Have a good rest of your day. And I'll be dropping this recording in the community in the next day or two. See you guys later.
Yeah, in a bit.